Admittedly, went quite a bit long last week's study, so let me try to make it up for you. You probably have a few of the things that we need you to know, a few of the updates. First of all, coming this Sunday, the 22nd of March, is our first ever interest meeting for Harvest Church, gathering people around the vision, around the story, and around the opportunity to build and develop Harvest Church from the ground up. We'd love for you to join us. We'd love for you to invite people that you think might be interested in this vision, in hearing more about this, to join us. Sunday, March 22nd at 10 a.m. at Ridgeline Middle School. I'm starting to envision that this may be the sort of day, this may be the sort of community that we look back on years from now in thankfulness. So take pictures when you're there. This may be the thing we'll want to remember for a long time. Later that week, after the interest meeting, comes Art of the Start, a 3-day training in Dallas, Texas, that now Daniel Alvarez, part of the Harvest Church leadership team, will be joining me for. So thankful for that. As we surround ourselves with people that do healthy, thriving church planning for a living. We're doing this 3-day training. We're getting together with all the vision and all the purpose and all the relationship and the calling that God has equipped us with. And man, we would really, really love your prayer support for that time. Wouldn't it be amazing, as we're often in Dallas learning how to plant the church that God has called us to, if the people of the church over that time are praying alongside of us. And so it's March 26th through the 28th. Maybe put that on your calendar to be praying over that. Okay, starting with the last verses of last week, the voice of King Nebuchadnezzar is in Aramaic. This is the part that the professor, I hope we can all call Daniel Alvarez the professor. I hope that catches from here on out. But the professor, early, he pointed out in his extra insight behind the book that this is a shift in the book of Daniel, that from here on, the voice turns Aramaic. That's just an interesting note of the nature of the book. Let's pick up verse 4 of chapter 4. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at ease in my house and prospering in my place. I saw a dream that made me afraid. As I lay in bed, the fancies and the visions of my head alarmed me. So I made a decree that all the wise men of Babylon should be brought before me, that they might make known to me the interpretation of the dream. Then the magicians, the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the astrologers came in, and I told them the dream, but they could not make known to me its interpretation. At last Daniel came in before me, he who was named Belteshazzar, after the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And I told him the dream, saying, O Belteshazzar, chief of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and that no mystery is too difficult for you, tell me the visions of my dream that I saw and their interpretation. He says, Belteshazzar, after the name of my God. And he says, I recognize in you, O Belteshazzar, is the spirit of the holy gods, and that no mystery is too difficult for you. This is scattered theology. This is mix and match theology. Take what you like, but it doesn't stick necessarily. It's an approach to understanding divinity and what we see and what is true. I will recognize that there is a God. I will recognize that there is a God who reveals mysteries, but I'm not going to give him more credit than that. Does that sound familiar? Mix and match theology. I'll recognize that maybe there's an overarching presence or an overarching power. I may even recognize when that power, that divinity does things or blesses me, but not in such a way that I'm going to actually comprehensively acknowledge him as God. Is not our world, and are not we even sometimes guilty of the same? Mix and match theology. Let's keep reading about the king's vision. Verse 10. The visions of my head as I lay in bed were these. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and its height was great. The tree grew and became strong, and the top reached to heaven. and it was visible to the end of the whole earth. Its leaves were beautiful, and its fruit abundant, and in it was food for all. The beasts of the field found shade under it, and the birds of the heavens lived in its branches, and all flesh was fed from it. I saw in the visions of my head as I lay in bed, and behold, a watcher, a holy one, came down from heaven. He proclaimed aloud and said thus, "Chop down the tree and lop off its branches. Strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the beasts flee from under it and the birds from its branches. But leave the stump of its roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze, amid the tender grass of the field. Let him be wet with the dew of heaven. Let his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth. Let his mind be changed from a man's, and let a beast's mind be given to him, and let 7 periods of time pass over him. The sentence is by the decree of the watchers, the decision by the word of the holy ones, to the end that the living may know that the Most High rules the kingdom of men and gives it to whom he will, and sets over it the lowliest of men." A watcher comes and decrees that the tree must be chopped down. The sentence ushered by the decree of what the king calls the watchers in verse 17. A divine judgment to the end that people may know that the Most High rules. Later in verses 23 through 27, this is all interpreted for us to be a judgment upon this king. Until you, O king, know that the Most High rules, you are only king of what you are king of because he permits it and has given it to you. This king has seen firsthand the miracles and the power of God. This king has attributed great works to the Lord. This king has praised the Lord. This king has decreed that everyone must speak well of this Lord, of this God of Daniel, and that he is incomparable among other gods. But none of it makes any difference in his heart. It's lip service. It's empty praises. Praises that might at the time have significance and weight, but they don't change the life of the person saying them. Again, does this sound familiar? We can look on this king and say, how hypocritical. We can look on this king and say, man, he speaks well of God, but it doesn't change his heart or his life. What about our worship songs? What about our prayers and praises? Let's keep going. Verse 18. This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, saw, and you, O Belteshazzar, tell me the interpretation, because all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known to me the interpretation, but you are able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in you. He recognizes authority again. He recognizes power. It just doesn't change him. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was dismayed for a while, and his thoughts alarmed him. And the king answered and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or its interpretation alarm you. Belteshazzar answered and said, my lord, may the dream be for those who hate you, and its interpretation for your enemies. Because the tree you saw, which grew and became strong so that its top reached to heaven, and it was visible to the end of the whole earth, whose leaves were beautiful and its fruit abundant, and which was food for all, under which beasts of the field found shade, and in whose branches the birds of the heaven lived. And to you, O king, who have grown and become strong, your greatness has grown and reaches to heaven, and your dominion to the ends of the earth. And because the king saw a watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven and saying, chop down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump and its roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze, in the tender grass of the field, and let him be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts of the field, till 7 periods of time pass over him. 7 periods of time, that's biblical or apocalyptic for complete, for thorough. This is the interpretation, O king. And we're going to finish this week's passage off with this. It is a decree of the Most High, which has come upon my Lord the King, that you shall be driven from among men, and your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. You shall be made to eat grass like an ox. You shall be wet with the dew of heaven. And 7 periods of time shall pass over you, till you know. Till you know. I want you to underline that or highlight that. Let that verse 25 stand out for you. Till you know that the Most High rules the kingdom of men and gives it to whom he will. And as it was commanded to leave the stump of the roots of the tree, your kingdom shall be confirmed for you from the time that you know that heaven rules. Therefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable to you. Break off your sins by practicing righteousness, and your iniquities by showing mercy to the oppressed, that there may be perhaps be a lengthening of your prosperity. Daniel here at this point, he's aged. He's been in Babylon for a long time. He has come to know and prosper under this king. What's fascinating here is I want you to see he has a plea for the king. Clearly, he cares about the king. Not only does he show deference and respect to this king, again, an oppressor, a conqueror of God's people, make note of that, but he has a heart for this king. Daniel is pro-King Nebuchadnezzar. Despite all the king's inconsistency, despite all the king's oppression, despite decades of captivity. Would you be? Would I? It is about being after souls and hearts, not merely professions of faith that clearly the king has made. It's not about winning arguments or winning the events of the day, which clearly Daniel has won, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego have won. The Lord has done time and time again, winning the day, winning the circumstance. And it's not even after dominating theology, a case that is won across many of Daniel's decades of faithfulness. How often would we consider any of those things victory? If you can get someone professing faith, if you can win the day in an argument or an event, then that is success. But see, Daniel, the man, is after the king. And Daniel, the book, is after hearts and souls for the Lord in true transformation. There's a verse that recently stuck out to me. It's Hosea chapter 10, verse 12. Sow for yourselves righteousness. Reap steadfast love. Break up your fallow ground. That's dormant or inactive soil. For it is the time to seek the Lord, that he may come and rain his righteousness upon you. Would we be people? Would we seek other people seeking the Lord in transforming, heart-changing righteousness, not merely lip service or winning the events of the day? May that be the harvest that the Lord reaps in us and through us to many others. That's what we pray for. That's what we long for as the people of the church.